first thing I thought was, I can't wait to hear their stories because they're all heavyweights in the industry. Can we appreciate them again? Robust, powerful panel, heavyweights in films, music, theater, and film distribution. All of them powerhouses, making great things happen in the creative industry. Let's quickly respond to the keynotes addressed by Dr. Balong. Kule, let me start with you. She said so much. Pioneer advantage and disadvantage, the messy middle, so many things that she punched on. AI. What resonated with you mostly in our speech?
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I listened to Ikira, and while she was talking, I could resonate with a lot of things she was saying because I actually worked with Spinet when Spinet started. As a matter of fact, we were one of the first set of people, and we're privileged to have shot the very popular Victor Laia Two-Face video, and that was commissioned by Spinlet, and Golden Effect produced and I directed it. So yeah, thank you. And while she was talking about, the collaboration side of things, for me, and I was whispering to a friend, and I said, look, you need to be careful at the same time. For some of us who are driven by passion, but at the same time, we're very mindful of the fact that for you to keep the art and creativity going, the business side must also, be well thought out. And in 2011, so I'll just cite this example. We have just made Rapada and the figurine, and we wanted to, it was time to jump on the next project. And we got approached by some people, and they have funds. And they said, look, we've been trying to do stuff, this is an opportunity, we would like to buy into your company. At that time, that's it, but let me go and do my findings. And look, the thing is, you need to surround yourself with good people. You need to surround yourself with good friends. And as far back as that time, some of the people that, we sat together and took that decision, some of them are in this room today. Mike is one of them, still showing in casting already. All of us, we've been together since then, and we've managed to help and support, each other's businesses. So I went back to them saying, so if people want to take my company, I'm not doing, because, and they said, okay, fast forward, can we do a film project together if we won't partner, on that level? And I said, okay, why not? And then we did SPV for a film title. I'm not going to mention the name. And we went to production waiting for the funds they're supposed to put in. And till we finished, the fund never came. And at the end of the day, we had to dissolve this SPV and or whatever. And up till now, they had a company secretary, there was a lawyer, they couldn't go to court, you can't fight, they are big people. So you waste your time. So even if you're considering partnering, and look at where we are today, we've managed to build the company. And the company gave back to another company, to another company, to another company.
All right, so I'm going to stop there. Yeah, because I'm still coming to your experience sharing. Let me come to you, Mike Dada. What resonated with you most? The keynotes address, the chairman's, or the guest of honor's speech?
I think for me, is the in-depth knowledge and understanding of the speaker. I never expected that.
Never experienced.
Yes. Yeah. So she spoke about data, she spoke about collaboration, she did comparative analysis outside Nigeria, and that as creatives or creative entrepreneurs, we must look beyond your reach. Which of course, that's what we've been doing the last 20 years in Africa. I think she spoke about even the places coming together, because we don't really work together. We like to work outside each other. For instance, the music and film industry, the biggest two experts, they don't really formally work together. What they do is to do and get to each other.
Yes, as the keynote speaker said, in silos.
Yeah, so those are the fundamental things I took away from that. But more importantly, when you look at the landscape of funding, investment, and capital, it's a difficult area, and it's also not difficult, depending on how you look at it. And one thing I'll just mention before I drop the mic is, it seems the music industry and the film industry in Nigeria are forgetting where they're coming from, their identity. This industry, the so-called industry in Nigeria, pardon me, film and the Nollywood and music industry were built out of nothing by the people themselves, without government. So, yeah, and I think in the last 5-7 years, they've been looking more towards the government. Why I understand that the government is coming, more importantly, that entrepreneurship, energy, and power, and must not dwindle.
Okay.
That's my point.
We're returning to the government as we speak. Please pass the mic to, oh, he has one, to Joseph Edgar. What resonated with you the most?
Okay, I think I'm in trouble here because I didn't listen to that speech. Honestly,
Did you not listen to any one of them?
yeah, so I walked in there, I was meeting so many people, I was starstruck, and come here, I'll read it. And I heard some things, but I didn't know that coming to the panel I'll be asked to.
This is your comprehension exercise.
The biggest thing when I come, I'll not talk. Go. Okay, but I picked one or two things from her. I picked one or two things from the chairman. I picked one or two things from the organ representing #1. And I picked a lot from Mr. Afolayo. And I then also thank Mr. Rumide for inviting me. I don't really know what I've done since I've seen all of these heavyweights. Now, but what is going through? I think the industry is doing very well, extremely well. I really don't like these pity parties that go on where we just come and celebrate challenges and all of that. This is a multi-trillion naira industry. You guys are doing extremely well. Like, I'm an investment banker, so I see the figures, I see the good potentials, I see the projections. You know, if this industry continues at this pace, in fact, it has already outstripped oil and gas, it's getting closer to agreement as one of the largest employers of people. There's no problem. So what I'm looking for now is how to sustain it, institutionalize the growth, so it doesn't just look like a trend. It's an existing trend. Someone once told me and said that the average, sorry, I usually stand very shy and then I get my confidence and I can solve it.
Okay, so but I have to stop here.
Someone that says, oh, that the average musician will wait for 10 years, averagely. So you get the shit of papers, you do the yo-yo, and then after 10 years, it's moved on. And then the person says, oh, he's surprised that Whiskey and the video and this victory seem to be surpassing that 10-year mark. So I think what is needed, which some people have said having in the system, is institutionalization of processes and structures. And that is.
That's okay. We're still coming back to another round. I know if we left you, you would take over, but let's just hear from Mary Ephraim Egbert. What resonated with her most?
Thank you very much. So there was so much knowledge that has been shown by the speaker, chairman, and it seems like we all know what we need to do. We've kind of come from the problem. So like he says, there's no problem, but at least where we are at now and where we need to go. And one of the things that spoke out when she was speaking was, the need for structure, for institutionalization, which he has also mentioned, and also the need for patient funding. In fact, that really just kind of, that's like the highlight of it for me, because really, if we talk about funding, probably some people would say, but this funding, just like Oga said, yeah, somebody was ready to give money, but the exchange rate was very high. So the idea went away, the funds went away. So, patient funding, and then of course understanding on the part of the stakeholders and the industry. So I would just like to say that, to add, and I know we're going to say a lot, but just to add to what Nkiri said, really, at the end of the day, I hear people talk about structure around the industry, and I think the industry has done a lot in structuring itself. But we're now going to have to go into the finance industry and look at how they have structured for this particular industry. Not structures in general as financiers, but how they are responding, and she did talk about that, being responsive to this industry and how it's supposed to really work, how that relationship should work. Really.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I love stats, so I'm going to read out a couple of statistics about the industry. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's creative industry contributed just 1.2% to Nigeria's GDP in 2023%. And in terms of its ability to earn revenue, Nigeria has, as of 2022, ranked as low as 1% compared to South Africa's 12.5%. Quickly, I just want to have your views about this very low ranking of Nigeria in terms of the revenue that we generate. Joseph, I'll come to you first.
Okay, so I think those figures are false. Yeah, because the structure for collection, for collating such data, they are not robust enough to identify the places that Nigerians are coming from the entertainment industry. Okay, so you see, the mainstream financial structure, either at the level of policy or at the level of regulation, do not really understand what's going on in this room. Okay? So that's why they can't really capture some of these things. And so what they just do is just chase after you. So they can actually see the money is floating. Okay? But they do not have what it takes now to pull it down. You can't, for the life of me, say that an organization, an industry that is creating the kind of labor, the kind of workforce that it's creating nationwide and globally is contributing only 1%. Basically, you can't see the funds, you don't know how to track it, you don't know how to collect it.
Okay, I'll come to you. Thank you. I'll come to you, Mary.
Yeah, just to add to that, so for instance, if we talk about generating funds in respect to whether it's Nollywood or is it the film industry, because 70%, or I would say maybe now 60% of the, let's use the cinema for instance, 60% of the funds that is generated in the cinema, and this is not just Nigeria, across Africa really, is not African content. Yeah, and that doesn't say anything wrong about the African content. It's just what it is in terms of the positioning of where we are at. So if you look at it, generally the film industry, for instance, globally, right, is valued at about $136 billion, right? Of which Africa actually just earns less than 1% of that. So just the score I was talking about. So if you were saying that you're actually doing an analysis and this is collaborating with what he's saying, 60% of that money doesn't come to the government. It goes out of the country. So that analysis really needs to be looked at, and the understanding of where we're generating and our value needs to be better assessed.
All right, thank you very much, Mike.
Okay, I think for me, I don't have the contrary data.
Okay.
So that's why I'm so I can't very fault it. But the truth of the matter is there's positive data in Nigeria because no one has the right infrastructure to enable data correctly. I remember, I think it was 2013, 2012, thereabout. When Kojo was the Minister of Finance, they rebased Nigerian economy. And Nigeria became the biggest economy in Africa. And it was said it was because of the creative industry at 3.3%. So the question now is that what has happened compared to now that has reduced? And don't forget, the median age in Africa, in Nigeria, is 19. So 70% of our population are very young people, and they're interested mainly in culture, tech, and sports. This is where they try. So there's productivity in that sector. That's the implication of that. So it has implication on even the GDP itself. So I don't have the contract data, but the reality on ground suggests that it should be more than that.
Okay. Colin.
I think it's all been said. I mean, the parameters around, getting the ranking, I mean, I'm not sure. And just like Kiro pointed out the other time, in film, if you're having a production, you have almost 10 departments, about 10 departments when a film production is going on. You have caterers, who handles, it takes like 10% of the entire fund, or more. You have the hotels, they take like a chunk of the money. You have the craft and, the hairstylists and makeup people, fashion design, a lot of hands. And I'm sure, if not everybody, some of these people still remit taxes and all that to government. So I'm not sure if they're only looking at the box office figures or they're really looking at, other areas. There are, the East is a completely different sector. Kannywood, I'm not even sure, what they do there. So I think we need to really check this fact, well.
All right, let me come to Minister Hannatu Musa. She had this audacious, ambitious vision of generating at least $100 billion from the creative industry and creating over 2 million jobs through an 8-point plan standing on 4 pillars. She's also saying that by 2027, which is 2 years away, she's looking at the growth by 400%. And she's put a lot of things in place. Is this intervention, or because they're quite a handful, are these interventions making sense to you at the top before we get to the messy middle? Claire, I'll start with you. 8-point agenda, 4 pillars.
Why?
That's a song.
Honestly, I don't know.
Are you feeling it, this intervention?
I don't understand it. Look, this thing there has been intervention approach, and there has also been executed intervention from government, even before this administration. But then, I think the entire structure, the entire industry needs to be restructured in a way, because people take money, and even when government give money, people take, and you can't even account for why or what you use the money for. That is one of the major problems we have. But for those who are genuine, Mr. Edgar has been doing his plays, and every time, even though they call him Alakatakiti, but then I won't interpret that in. Do you even know the meaning? Well, but then he sustained his thing, right? Just like was it Mickey that mentioned that the industry was built by individuals, right? And there has always been BOI from BOI and other government agencies, have always introduced interventions. But then, how do we really, we did Cap Village opening a few months ago, and then the government promised to do certain things. We're still waiting, hopefully. But as an entrepreneur, for me, my take and what I would tell an average entrepreneur is, you cannot wait. All right? We got here on our own. All right? And if you believe in that, which you then reach out, look for other means. Government will need you at some point, and they will always come back. That's my take.
All right. Joseph, I'll take you, but then I would ask another question. I think, let's take you very briefly.
Yeah, let me answer it very quickly. I'm very excited about this thing. Just hold out from the minister. You know, it's like those days when we were in banks, you know, when we were young bankers, you know, and they have what they call NPR, you know, and they say, how much are you going to bring? You don't tell them what you want to hear. Do you guys? I'm paying 2 billion. That's what that minister is doing. Because the industry already has employed 2 million people, if not more. So now we're waiting for only God knows when and all of that. You see, my advice to the industry is that you guys should not drive away genuine people who understand the business of entertainment. Dude, that's what's killing you. That's what's making you not get that institutional sustainability that you're looking for. So people come and say it's just a theater marketer. No, I understand finance and a little bit of creativity, and then based on that, build a structure. You get me now? There's not totally finance you get that can fit with you. The traditional banks will never understand you. They will never understand you. The traditional investment bankers will never understand you. The traditional investor who puts his money in an oil rig, puts his money in real estate, will never understand you. You're asking someone to give you 100 million, 200 million on a song, he will just be looking at you. You have someone to give you 50 million on a song, you just looking at you. You know, I'll keep quiet. No, I'll keep quiet. Next time when you're inviting me, give me time. My advice is to build substructures. Substructures. That's what I've done. I don't want any money from any government, not interested. Build substructures, funds that are run by people who understand your basic needs. Simple.
All right. Okay, go ahead. The how, very briefly. Iyemi is whispering in my ears. A very quick how, and then I come to Mike.
Well, very simple now. So, there was a thing they call investment, they call them funds, and they call them funds of funds. So they are specialized, customized funds for this industry. Do you understand? So if you have a fund for movies, a fund for theater, a fund for whatever, so the investors, they already know the nature of what you're trying to do, and that's patient capital I'm talking about sits in that fund. That person who is investing in that fund is not going to ask you to go and bring collateral like BOI. Go and bring your house to collect loan, because he knows it's a risk he's taking with you. He's taking a risk on your talent. So the insurance company who's coming to that fund, the investors coming to that fund, already knows that Kunle's movie may or may not. And then there's something called trend analysis. So he relies on his past performances to project his returns. The BOI, the First Bank, we never understand that.
Mary wants to
agree, and I think that there's a cure as well. It's not. I mean, I hear what you mean by they will never understand, because it's a trading. It has complexities, blah blah. But it can be defined, and it is defined. And I say that because we have just completed training for about 15 finance. Which includes financiers, which includes banks and the rest. Like we at Africa Film Finance Forum, we talked to the banks and they said to us, we don't understand your industry. We can get it. We don't know what the numbers are. We don't know how it works. How do you get? And we decided, okay. And I remember one of the bank MDs said to us, would you teach us? Would you train us? And from there, we came up with a training, put together a training together, and today we've done about 15 banks, well, not just banks, 15 investors, financiers, basically, and banks.
But is it translated into investment in the industry?
Of course it will eventually. You have to start with that. They have to understand, they have to know what this industry is about. You understand? And how it works. It has to be, and like one of the things that he said, this industry needs more than creators. It's an industry, which means that there are many aspects to which we need financiers. We need people that understand financing. We need people that understand insurance. And we need insurance people to understand this industry. We need lawyers. We need marketing marketing companies that understand how to take our message, curate it properly, so that we can do, the creators. I'm not necessarily, I'm not in production or anything like that. I could be, because I have the understanding, but I'll still be on the business side of things.
All right, I'll pause you there. Let me come to you, Mike. They say creativity is a wild mind and a disciplined eye. How have you been a disciplined eye with your wild mind?
Maybe wild mind, disciplined eye, from the point of view of marketing and communication.
That's right.
I'm an artist. I can't seem to save my life. So I went into this because I'm looking for a platform to communicate Africa to the rest of the world for global competitiveness. And we saw music as a way of value to do this. That's why we went to it 20 years ago. And be consistent about that. So, just to speak to what Edgar was saying about they will never understand. I think the duty of this industry to make them understand. Because there's no way you will not need them, we need them. And from experience, I've had to talk to some MPs of banks, the same they say to us, we don't understand. And nobody will put their money where they don't understand. It's the reality of life. And they don't put their money because they like your face. It's because of the idea we give them returns. Don't say they are wicked, they don't support us, even government don't support us. Government don't understand. But they understand. That's why they form policies that will not work. And from policy, you have to take action, from action to be impact. But if the policy and design of politics is wrong from day one, there won't be an action, there will never be an impact. So it is the duty of this industry, even either by workshops or any other means, to ensure that they understand, you communicate to them, they understand why the size of the potential of this industry to reduce poverty, to take people, the young people away from the street. It is our duty to let them understand.
All right, thank you very much. Kule, Pablo Picasso said that the chief enemy, please go ahead and clap for him, that's fine. Pablo Picasso said the chief enemy of creativity is good sense. I'm going to tie that to structure. How have you been able to bridge the gap between ideas and structure? After that, I'll come to the audience.
I've been very intentional. When I started this, I'll say 2005. That was when we registered Golden Friends, and when we were going to make our first film, I remember I said to myself, I don't want to do what everybody was doing, and I managed to not cut corners, but capitalize on areas where people are not focusing, and then the Rabada became a success. And after then, it was figuring, and I said, no, we have to take it higher. But then I was very conscious of, or mindful of, the ecosystem. I'll say I'm a bit lucky that, I came from that background. My father and his contemporaries, Ogunde and the rest of them, I saw their structure. And even up till now, I still go back to some of my father's files to read some of the contracts, because I have access to those files. That's my own inheritance. I took some of those files, so I'm always reading them. And I have contracts that he signed with the likes of Faleti when he wanted to do his first film in 1978, acquiring the right to Omolokwenshi, and all of that. And the contract with all of the group, theater group and all of that. And we don't even do that much details now. They usually would call those people illiterates, but they were more structured than what we have now. There were contracts and all. So for me, I thought there's need for us to have a more structured and robust ecosystem. Whenever it is we want to film, we'll hire a caterer, and then we'll hire, and I felt, okay, what if I have, I could open a canteen, even if not a proper catering. And from there, Afefe started. So we started in Lagos, and we started with Cap Hub. Cap Hub is in Qedng. And within Cap Hub, I thought, okay, we need to have a school, because every day young people will reach out to you asking or saying their life depends on you, saying they saw you in their dream and you are their problem solver. So, and I thought, how could we, there's no way you can individually cater for these people. So we set up a school, and then we have a cinema, Cap Cinema. It's an ecosystem because in my head, I'm like, okay, let's create a one-stop shop for creative. And from there, when people come, when they eat there, when they talk, other ideas, will come up. And that has really helped. Sorry, don't cut me like let me just leave the land. And because we started this, that brought interest from outside. We did partnership with MasterCard Foundation. In fact, we've never gotten any support towards the academy from Nigerian government. It's always been US Embassy, MasterCard Foundation, French Embassy, all of those people, right? And from there, we managed to extend it, and made a bigger move, outside of Lagos. So I'm saying, first you have to be intentional. If this is all about just making money and living like a celebrity, that we are, I don't need to be doing all of that. But building capacity and catering for, those young people that will tell our own story is something that, is of a key interest to me.
Thank you very much. All right, so would there be anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question?
Sorry, I know you want me to ask a question, but for the fact that I come from an area where culture is such a big business and nobody wants to look into that, and that is a good man, so it's very scary. Whilst you said collaboration, that most people like to collaborate, but how best can we reach out to people to understand that the best approach to growing their brand or whatever they do is that they need to have all of the documentations, all of the back-end stories, so that when they push it out, the people they're pushing out to will know more about them, to value what they have. What's the best approach to business?
All right, I remember the chairman saying it's more than entertainment, it's about identity, so you're quite right. So who wants to, Mike?
Okay.
A very quick response.
Okay, the quick response is, like she said, the industry is not all about the creatives alone. There are professionals that surround that creatives. For instance, the Davido, she is an artist, but you can imagine how many people generate revenue from it. Lawyers, financial consultants, brand communication experts, PR experts, and all of that. For instance, in one of our organizations, a sport betting company, we were looking for $20 million to scale. So the question is, will I sit down and start letting myself? The answer is no. We needed to engage a consultant whose field is that, to really make sure that we properly put documents in place that will entice investors. And we pay them. And I think that's what we should try to do as creatives. Look for professionals in those fields who can work with us to ensure that we get our objectives right.
In other words, we grow the value chain. Okay, let's have you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to be here. My name is Rashid Bolarima. I'm the president of our Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks in Nigeria. We have almost 87 banks in Nigeria. The current government is targeting a 1 trillion economy. I will advise Olumide Yoda, my very good friend.
$1 trillion or $1 trillion?
$1 trillion economy.
Thank you.
Yes. So I want QE set up a think tank, consolidation. By end of Q1, the banks that has become the darling of the entire world. I believe very strongly that if QED set up a think tank, Mike Dada was saying that we need to let the banks understand what we do. Edgar is there. Do you understand? So let the think tank, let them form a blueprint through which they will be able to approach the bank, so that this creative sector can take advantage of the money that's available in the banking. That way we will scale. Everybody for it. All the elements will then be able to scale and get enough funds. And everybody will be empowered within all the value chain. Thank you.
Let me
Respond to you,
also respond to my
Sir Rashid Bolar.
Yeah, I still say forget the banks. No, honest God truth, forget the banks. Because the way banks are structured, banks are quantitative. They want to see inflow and outflow. They want to see a track before they come in. Are you getting me now? But if we build a subculture, a sub-economy that starts between you and the banks, then it just might work. You get a subculture who understands the banks and also understand the fund. We know people who understand what the bank wants and also understands what you want. That fund takes the risk with the banks, do you get me now? And then offloads to you. You get? That's one. Now for people, how do you attract those things? Very simple, two things I'll say here now. You depersonalize your business. Depersonalize your business. You get? So Kuda Folayo should be totally different from Kuda company name. Come on. You get? Schema risk. There's schema risk everywhere. There's schema risk everywhere. I'm somewhere now trying to do a festival. One man and the director, one man and the makeup artist, one man and the no. You depersonalize it. You get? Build the structures, have corporate governance. Corporate governance. Let people know, let people see what they call collective decision taking. And when there's collective decision taking, then there's collective responsibility. So an investor or someone who wants to be part of you would have that confidence. Do you understand? So I'm doing something now, and one is everything. And I'm saying, what if something happens to you? Do you get? How do we react? And that's the situation in most of the industry. So depersonalize and then
All right, colleague.
Sorry, I think what works for A might not work for B. Because that depersonalizing thing can never work for me. Right? Because there couldn't have been a CAP motion or CAP village or CAP without my personal input. Look, my friends and I were always talking, and I remember, excuse me, I have another friend who is doing very well in the industry, and I remember she used to, our platform was established in partnership with another bigger establishment. And most of the time, when it comes to finances, everything goes into that. Oh, sure, I mean. You know, so, and one day, I think she wanted to do a project, and then she couldn't access money. And quite a number of times I remember she asked me, and she said, "Who are your board members?" And I said, "It's me and Mommy." You know, and I said, "Oh, Mommy said, I sign her signature, so, so it's me pretty much." And really, and I said, because I feel that I could handle a lot of these things. If it works for you, fine. If you think you don't have the capability, then you can always have. If you follow, and I'm not saying don't follow structure, but there are structures. The structure that works in the US might not work in Nigeria. The Hollywood structure will not work in Nigeria. The Nigerian structure will not work in Ghana. The Ghana structure will not work in Benin or in Cameroon. So I think it's important that, surround yourself with the right people, whether formally or informally. And I think that works better than, all of these overemphasized putting in or putting yourself in something that cups your hand and you're not able to think. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Finally, yes. Finally,
Okay,
standing by.
Just 60 seconds. Because one has opportunity to talk around the world, and at the end of the day, there are no actions. So please, don't mind Joseph. Don't forget the past. What he said about forming the committee, engaging the banks, and these are actionable items that will be followed. We need them, please.
Okay, finally, are you jittery about AI or emboldened by it? I mean, ChatGPT 5 is out now. They say it's equivalent to having 5 professors answer your questions. Is it endangering the creative industry, or Yeah, very quickly.
I think based on principle, technology is meant to support and to enhance, to improve. So that is what AI will continue to remain.
All right, thank you very much, Julie.
For me, they're always saying it's not going to take your job. That's a lie. It's going to take a lot of people's job. If you don't key in, a lot of people in creative who focus mainly on writing and research are going to lose their jobs. All right, so if you don't want to lose your job, then you have to find a way to be better than AI, really. Those that will enjoy, or rather, I think with people who have Michelle, if you're Andy and you do craft and all of that, AI might not be able to, take that. But if you say, I'm a creative writer, I'm a this and that, it's going to affect it. So we all need to be, yeah.
All right, Joseph, you do theater, you're on stage. Are you emboldened by AI or you're jittery about it?
No, so I pity those I work with. It can't affect me because I always run for money. Yes, but I once met someone's office and we were talking and they said, let me write the script for you now. And I'm like, how? And then he did that thing out of my team, was like script behind like this. And I'm asking myself, because I know how much I've paid the script in the last 2-3 years. Yeah. So the scriptwriter, like I said, all of that, but for me, I'm safe.
All right, finally, Mary, you convene a finance, film finance outfit. Is it a threat?
I think it's an enabler and it would really help the finance industry. So there's something called green lighting for a script to go into production. And since most of the financiers do not understand the intricacy, normally there is like a group of people that are like they do script coverage, and they'll be able to tell you if this script, if you make a film out of it, it's going to make money. So currently there is AI has been able, there's a company that basically is a film tech company that has enabled for you to just plug in the script in there, and it tells you the value of the project and if it's going to make money. So I think even for the financiers, it will really be an enabler, because then you don't have to go to film school to understand all these things. You can trust a system that has been put together by experts, to enable that. That's just an example of what I think AI can really do for the industry.
All right, a round of applause for our panelists. Mary Ifrenegas, Joseph Edgar, Mike Dada, and Tolia Polayo. Thank you very much for your time. A round of applause for yourselves as well.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel Goldmine TV and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.